Hello students, your topic for today is battery and Mahim. So battery is an intentional thought wherein one person makes intentional, harmful, offensive contact with another person. For a tortious act to be battery, contact by the offender may result in harm to the victim, which may be immediate or direct. For example, A pushes B, battery is committed. A throws a rock at B, who gets hit by the rock, battery is committed. A lays a trap for B, and few days later B falls into it, A has committed battery. So, moreover, the offense of battery comes under both criminal and civil law. Though the definition of battery is same in both, however, the only difference in civil and criminal pertaining to battery is of remedies. If the case is filed under tort, that is the civil law, a compensation is granted to the victim or plaintiff, or if the case is filed under criminal law, then the offender is punished with imprisonment. As all the laws which are covered under criminal laws, those crimes are considered to be crime against society. Now let's discuss the essentials of battery. So the first essential is intention of the offender. As a battery is an intentional tort, the element of intention of an offender to commit the act of battery is necessary. The presence or absence of criminal intention is of no consideration in case of tort of battery. This means for a tort of battery, a mere touch or contact without consent is requisite. The wrongdoer may not intend to do particular harm, but merely a non consensual touch amounts to the tort of battery. The next essential is contact by the offender. So there must be the non consensual act of contact by the offender. This means that without the permission of the plaintiff, the offender and either caught hold of his clothes or his body. Battery can be as direct as striking on someone's face or by digging a pit for someone who falls into it after several days. Moreover, it can be any sexual conduct also. So there should be a contact by the offender. Then harm done to the plaintiff. So the offender may cause any kind of harm, including physical, mental, or emotional. This means the harm is not limited to bodily or physical injuries, but also beyond that. All that a plaintiff needs to prove is that there was unlawful contact with the plaintiff's person or property in an offensive manner. A suit for damages in battery. So once all the elements and essentials of batteries are fulfilled, then the aggrieved person may file a case against the offender. So there is a suit under criminal law and there is a suit for damages under civil law. Under criminal law, the state will file a case against the offender for committing battery, wherein the victim becomes the witness in the case. The main focus of the court is to either prove the accused guilty or innocent, and it does not look into the matters pertaining to the grant of damages. And if in case the accused is proven guilty, then he is imprisoned for the stipulated period of time. Then there is civil law. In civil law, if the order is passed in favor of the plaintiff, the tort facer who has done the tort will be liable to pay compensation to the plaintiff. So the civil suit is filed with the objective to claim damages and not imprisonment. Then there are suit for damages. There are, for instance, there is a chain snatcher who has snatched the chain from a lady, and the lady may ask for compensation to cover the following losses. So what all compensation she will ask? First, for the with the property. So here in the above case, there is a necklace which when snatched is damaged or if it is broken. Then there is a physical harm or bodily injury. So the physical injury will lead to the treatment in the hospital, which will result in medical bills. Apart from economic losses, the lady also suffered pain and suffering. Then there is emotional harm caused by the incident. So this apprehension of battery and embarrassment that the lady has suffered from this accident. So damages in case of medical malpractice. So in cases pertaining to medical malpractice, if there is a lack of consent and unauthorized treatment, then the patient may sue for all the cost of treatment. Procedures are the harm and pain suffered by him. This is applicable even in cases where the treatment was done for the benefit of the patient but without the patient's consent. Now, defenses for battery. So, self defense as a defense against battery is there. The offender may take the defense that he has committed the tort of battery in self defense. However, for proving self defense, an offender has to prove the following pointers. First, there was a reasonable apprehension by the person for an immediate threat to to person or property. Second, the offender had a genuine fear and apprehension from the other party. Third, the offender has not provoked the plaintiff. And last, there was no reasonable chance in the hand of the offender to escape from that place. Then there is consent as a defense against battery. So when an individual has consented for the act, then it does not constitute the offense of battery. However, if the extent of the permission or consent given is exceeded by the offender, then it amounts to battery. Then there is defense to of other person or his property as a defense against battery. So just like in the case of self defense, action is respect of saving the other person or his property. This is talking about that. In self defense, it is talking about your own self defense. In this defense, it is talking about defense for the any other person or any other person's property. So the proportion of force that is used must be in accordance with the threat that is posed on the other person. Then there is mayhem. So mayhem is a tort that causes severe injury to the victim such that he is unable to defend himself from the tortfeasor. So it is closely intervened with assault and battery. While assault refers to the threat of battery, battery is the physical uses of force against a person. Mayhem deals with the disfigurement or loss of any body part due to physical injury caused by the tortfeasor. So the disabling of an arm, hand, finger, leg, foot, eye are examples of mayhem. To be guilty of criminal offense, one must intend to dismember the victim or must assault him so recklessly as to create the danger of dismemberment, even though not intending to cripple. Several jurisdictions do not consider the difference between mayhem and battery, but rather they count mayhem as a form of aggravated battery, as is done in countries like Japan. US considers mayhem as a felony. The concept of mayhem can be understood through the following cases, that is Fetter versus Bailey and Garrett versus Taylor. So in Garrett versus Taylor, it was held that the quarryman had a cause of action against the defendant who had caused the plaintiff's customer to discontinue buying the quarried stone by threatening them with mayhem. The differences are the basic difference between assault, battery, and mayhem has been established that assault is an action that causes an apprehension in the mind of the victim that an act of battery is about to take place. Battery refers to the act of striking someone with physical force and no lawful justification is there. Mayhem refers to the act of crippling someone and rendering him defenseless. Assault generally refers to only intent to cause harm, whereas both battery as well as mayhem inflict physical harm upon the victim. Assault takes before the crime of battery is committed, and mayhem is the severe form of battery. So, all these three torts are associated with each other and they form an integral part of criminal as well as tort law. That's all. Thank you.